And we are on the air.
All right. What episode are we?
222.
222. Welcome, viewers and listeners, to episode 222. That's a lot of twos, where our cons are always generous. I'm Cam.
I'm Brian.
And today we are going to delve into, my narcissistic views on life and what I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And we're also going to take you on a preview / in-depth sort of review of GenCon thus far. I am sort of reporting live here from Indianapolis at GenCon. So we're going to go through that. And we're sort of going to recap why we didn't have a show last week and sort of let you guys in on what we were doing for the last couple weeks. And we should probably start that off right now with our weekly geekly recap. Brian, why don't you start us off, and then I'll sort of finish this off because I've got a ton of shit.
Been a long hot summer. I picked the perfect time to get into walking and catching Pokemon and getting horribly sunburned and a lot of outdoors. You know, there's a few places local to us that are just great for Pokemon meetups and things like that. So I've been doing a lot more of that. Well, I mean, there did not exist beforehand, but and last week was kind of a summer celebration excuse to travel. I actually trekked up to Orlando. Nice. And kind of did the same thing. My intention was to do Cloak and Blaster and Disney and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of never got around to it. Had some problems to take care of around my buddy's house. Wound up doing some gardening and some car repair and stuff like that.
Wow.
And just spent the rest of the time examining Pokemon in that area.
Did you hit Disney at all, or you just went to?
No, we did not. Was kind of planning on it, but just I don't know, just never got around to it.
Cool. But you did hit the you did hit the Gods and Monsters, or you did, or Cloak and Blaster?
Hit Cloak and Blaster. Didn't do Gods and Monsters. Kind of forgot about that place. I hate to say. I should have considered that.
I wonder how they're doing, because I know a friend of mine just went up there a couple weeks ago, and they seem like they're still doing all right, but I wonder how they're doing sales-wise. Because it's kind of an out-of-the-way kind of place to go. You know what I mean? Like, you basically got to go there, be going there.
Yeah, they're kind of the anchor of that mall.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I wonder if Think Geek hurt them any at all, because that's a pretty big store to have right next door.
Oh, Think Geek opened up next door to them?
The first
like retail shop
in the country.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess it could either help or hurt, because it might make it more of a destination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, make it even more of a destination. So you're like, oh, well, I can hit 2 birds with 1 stone. As long as they have different items, that might help, actually, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Think Geek's more of like the sort of novelty stuff, right? Like clothes and whatever, like bags and different
kind
things
of like a geeky hot topic.
Tchotchkes. Yeah, whereas Gods and Monsters is more of like games and like actual collectibles. Like the art, comics, and like the art and the figurines and those kind of things. Yeah, might work. I mean, if they're going to do it, now's the time, right? I mean, might as well capitalize while it's hot.
Yeah, it's not going to ever get any better than this, I don't think.
For sure. What else? Anything else? So you didn't catch any Pokemon up there?
Nothing amazing. There's a couple of places that are like, I guess like famous spots, but I just never did it. I kind of feel weird trespassing still. Like one of the big spots is a private apartment complex, and everybody's like, "Whoa, just sneak in and don't be a jerk." And I was kind of like, still sneaking in, so I don't know about that. And and one of the other spots is like a golf course. And I don't know, I just had a weird experience when I was a kid. I got chased off a golf course, like, oh, it's private property for the rich. So I don't know, like, just catch Pokemon somewhere else, not bother with a golf course.
Yeah, Pokemon's not worth a trespassing ticket,
right?
Whatever it is nowadays.
I will say this though, I actually, while I was away, my comics kind of piled up, so I picked them up today, and Darth Vader's coming to a close. I think it's got 3 or 4 issues left, and Star Wars is just kind of doing, like, I don't know, they feel like fillers, like they don't really know what to do with the story, so they're just telling side tales, which is actually really cool. And there was a killer story, I think it came out last week, but I picked it up today, told by a stormtrooper, and just really different feel and different perspective, and an absolutely killer propaganda cover. Love issue 21 of Star Wars. Very cool.
So do you like with your comics, do they just hold them for you because they know you, or do you actually have like store subscriptions?
Yeah, I mean, they don't charge you for it or anything like that, but I'm subscribed at Korka, so they just hold on to it. And, I let them know, I'm like, hey guys, it's going to be a week, so don't throw it out. And I mean, there's some people that are like a lot of times I'll go in and they won't have like a surprise. Like, I didn't subscribe to it, but hey, I want to read this. It came out. And they'll be like, well, this guy hasn't picked it up in 6 weeks, so it's yours, or, something like that.
Yeah, well, that's good. They should take care of their repeat customers. Yeah.
And they're kind of small enough that I think I don't think it's special service. I think they actually know, like, most of their subscribers, like, by name and everything. Like,
yeah, it's hard to come by these days, for sure. Cool. So what else? Anything else?
That's about it. Actually, today was the Star Wars thing that was that catches me up.
Very cool. All right, I guess that brings that around to me. I just got back 2 days ago from Europe. My companion and I went over there. We did a week in France and then 2 weeks in the UK. We hit Cardiff. We hit Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and England. And it was amazing. I mean, we had such a good time over there. I proposed, so I'm now a betrothed man. I have a fiance instead of a companion. I don't know.
Congratulations, man.
I don't know what that would be. A fianian? I don't know. I guess she's still my companion, but so that's cool. And we hit a lot of geeky places when we were there. We hit any place we went to where there was a gaming cafe we went to, like a board gaming cafe. We actually hit a video gaming cafe, which was pretty cool. It was called like Pod Stop or something like that. But it was like, it just had like a bunch of, it was like literally a basement. You went down into the basement and there was just a bunch of like little pods set up. And you just go sit down and just start, jump on a console. They had console and they had PCs. And you could just jump on and start playing. And they had like LAN parties, or available or whatever. You could do like a LAN party there or whatever. But and maybe Tom would have been good to weigh in. But by the way, Tom is traveling, so unfortunately he couldn't make it. And the reason why we didn't have a show last week is because I was traveling. But
everybody was traveling last week.
Yeah. So now we're back. But you would probably know too, Brian. So you as a PC gamer or as a console gamer, what would be your like incentive to go into one of these like pod cafes and play? Would there be ever be an incentive for you to do that? I mean, I get it with the gaming cafe because it's like an experience. You go in, you can have something to drink, have something to eat, meet with friends. It's more of like a bar setting sort of. Whereas this PC gaming place, they didn't have any food. They just had like a little rack of snacks, and you basically just went in, could sit at a pod, and can't you just do that at home with your PS4 membership or your Xbox One membership?
The only thing I can think of, and I don't know which way they went, if either, would be the socialization, because just like board gaming, you can sit around and talk with friends or whatever. Even if you're not necessarily affecting each other in game, that kind of like yelling back and forth and noise and interaction could attract me at least, or they just have to do it bigger and better than I could at home. Immersion, amazing televisions, maybe haptic seats or whatever they call it, feedback.
Yeah. No, this place, it really, it almost kind of, to be honest with you, was like almost like walking in, is like sort of like an office with just a bunch of cubicles, Like I say pods, but it wasn't really like a pod where you like got in and like, I could see what you're saying. Like if it was like an actual pod, you got in and it was like a really like sweet chair that, like you said, had feedback and all that stuff. And you sort of got immersed in like a wraparound TV or something. That would be awesome. But they didn't really, it wasn't really like that. It was just like you go in, you grab a cubicle and start playing.
This might be a pretty ignorant question, but I'll own up to it. I don't really know anything about England. PCs is common there?
Well, it's funny, and I think it's a great question. But my companion brought up the same thing, which is funny because she's not even a gamer, and she was just like, because it was in Oxford, where like Oxford, Cambridge, like all those big schools are, and she was like, maybe they just don't have like the space or the TVs. They don't allow like a big TV or whatever in the dorm room. But I was like, okay, I get it if you can't have like a big TV and a console, but everyone's got a laptop. You know what I mean? I mean, it's Oxford, it's Cambridge. I'm sure they have Wi-Fi. I'm sure they have probably even hard connections, like super fast hard connection. So, I mean, all you got to do is plug your laptop in. But, I mean, maybe you have to stay with, if you have a roommate, you don't want to bother your roommate maybe. I don't know.
I've often heard Europeans just bitch about that. So I wonder if the added cost makes it not worth owning games when you can just run down to your pub and rent them.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Is like I said, it's Oxford, so I didn't go into their dorm rooms or whatever. So I'm wondering if it's like, I mean, that school's been around for how many hundreds of years? Those schools.
Yeah.
Maybe they just have like really small rooms, or really like. But then again, like the rich, like every like rich prime minister, you know what I mean? Like all the rich go there. I can't believe their accommodations are that shitty. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays.
It might just be more like classical than shitty. Maybe they just have that air and don't want to have like a bunch of beeps and boops in the halls.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, they seem like they were doing well. I mean, the guy, they'd been around for a while, and the guy, I mean, it was like a random Friday or so. I don't know when we went. It was like just daytime, and there was a bunch of people in there. So I guess they're doing all right. But so we hit that. We hit all the gaming cafes. It was awesome, like for fans of Doctor Who and Torchwood, so many places we went to. This place in Cardiff, where it was actually the Millennium Center, where they have like, where Torchwood actually, like in the show, they have their like headquarters. We went to the Millennium Tower. We went to Yanto's, what do they call it? I want to say tribute, but it's not. It's Yanto's, when someone dies, where they put like monument. A vigil, yeah. Like basically, it's just like this huge wall where he died in the show, like where they filmed it, and so they have like an actual like, I mean, the guy is obviously still alive, the actor, but like the character, they make like this memorial like on this big wall for him. Even the city of Cardiff like sort of like got in on the fun. They have like a big picture of him and like memorial to Yanto Jones.
Wow.
But then under it, they're like, Yanto Jones is a fictional character. He really, he's not a real person that died. They have to like make a disclaimer. We went to went by the Doctor Who experience there. We actually in Cardiff visited a castle where they what the hell was the name of the episode? The Eternal Library or something like that, where a recent Doctor Who episode was filmed. This really old school library in one of these castles that we went to. We also hit a bunch of Harry Potter spots, like the actual grave of Tom Riddle, like where the real Diagon Alley, basically, it's called the Shambles in one of the small like little towns we went to. We went by the coffee shop where J.K. Rowling hung out and wrote Harry Potter on a bunch of napkins. Basically, the story is she was like super poor and she couldn't afford the heating in her house. So she would go to this coffee shop around the corner.
She went to Starbucks?
Yeah, she went to the coffee shop around the corner, ordered a cup of coffee, and just sat there and didn't even have enough money for paper, so she wrote Harry Potter on the napkins of the place there, which is really cool. So she went from like super poor to super rich. And actually, the tour guide told us this, but I don't know how true it is. But basically, she's certainly the richest woman in Scotland. I guess she makes her home in Scotland, and they say that she would be the richest person in the entire UK if she didn't give away so much money.
Wow.
So apparently she gives away like tons and tons of money to like altruistic and philanthropic endeavors because I guess she came from such humble beginnings. She was a single mother, couldn't afford much, and then obviously you own the Harry Potter IP, you make it to $1 billion pretty quick. So hit that. Where else did we go? There's actual like a Professor McGonagall, like we like saw where she was. We saw, we just so many really cool, like, I mean, the actual Hogwarts was modeled after Oxford, which is, like I said, where we saw that video game cafe. Went and took a look at that, took a look at the courtyard, and I mean, it's loosely based, obviously. You know what I mean? You go and you see these things, and it looks very similar, but it's not like, oh God, it looks exactly like it. So that was really cool. The UK has a lot of really geeky, like, fun places. We went to this really cool in London. It's called Drafts. It was a really cool gaming pub. We actually went on the front end of our trip when we first got to the UK, and then we went back right before we left. And it was super cool, man. It was almost a little hipsterish. It was like a really nice building, like sort of industrial, with like, super nice tables and exposed brick and all that stuff. And they had a bunch of games and Drafts, yeah. Like DRAUGHTS or something. I think that's how they spelled it.
Like beer.
Yeah, it was super cool, man. They had like a bunch of great games, and we had a great time gaming there. And everyone was like, the people that worked there were super great. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. France was cool. We went to a couple gaming places there. Not as many, and they weren't as big, weren't as popular as they were in the UK, but it was cool. We were in Paris for the Bastille Day celebration. Unfortunately, that whole Nice thing happened.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But yeah, and then I came back from the UK, a engaged man, and had one day off basically, and then came to GenCon yesterday, and I've been in Indianapolis. Yeah, got to Indianapolis yesterday. GenCon starts tomorrow. I'm here with Yellow Games, and just ready to rock. I mean, everything's all set up. Con starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. and I'm ready to go. So that's
jealous again this year.
Yeah, that's it for my Geekly. And I'll get into more stuff too. I'm assuming, like, I'm sure as we talk, but I'll jump into the news. I sort of tailored the news around my sort of globe trotting. There is a British pub which I didn't get to go to. It's in a town that's sort of outside London, but I wanted to go, and I saved this message or this story so that I could bring it up. It's called the Gin Tub, and it's in a place called Hove, Hove, England. They built a Faraday cage basically around all the walls of the bar, so you don't get any signal whatsoever from any phone, computer, no Wi-Fi, nothing.
Wow.
The guy basically was like, listen, when you come to my place, I don't want anyone looking at their phones. I don't want anyone doing anything except drinking, eating, and socializing. Like, no.
That kind of sounds awesome.
Yeah, but it's funny because it says, like, people, instead of, like, people not only take smoke breaks, but they take like phone breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to go outside to get on your phone, which is pretty cool. I mean, I like that. I can respect that, And I just got back from dinner here with a bunch of my colleagues, and we were outside and we're waiting for the Uber to come. Literally, there was 8 of us, and all 8 of us were sitting there just looking at our phones, like zombies almost, Which is, I guess, it's good we were doing it after dinner because not many people, we sort of stayed off our phones at dinner, but it's sort of taken over society basically. Sticking with sort of the international. Well, I was just talking about Harry Potter. While we were over there, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out, which was massive. I mean, it's funny. The day that it came out, we were walking around town, and every freaking bookstore we walked by had like lines out the door
Wow.
for people trying to get the book. Because obviously it's England, I mean, it's like that's sort of Rowling's from there and stuff, or the UK. So that was pretty cool. I have not picked it up. I'm sort of waiting for the hype to die down. Did you pick it up, Brian?
No, not yet. I don't know how I feel about reading a play.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people are so starved for Harry Potter. It's almost like she could. I mean, she could probably, if she wrote another real book, I mean that would probably be like her biggest seller.
Yeah.
Just because people are so starved for that IP. I mean, and I mean, I'm sure that another movie would be ridiculous as well. That's one of those where it's sort of like some franchises like the first couple are great and then like they sort of peter out. This one just got stronger and stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why she wouldn't. I mean, maybe she's just sick of it.
She's doing Fantastic Beast, right?
Is she?
Yeah, I think they were working on a movie for that, or working on the rights for it, or whatever.
I'm not that enamored with that. You know what I mean? It's almost like, all right, well, yeah, you can have a steak or you can have a hamburger. It's like, come on, give me the steak. I don't want the burger. Let's see. All right, so Brian, when you were a kid, did you have a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine?
Oh yeah,
I did too. I loved it. I still have a few of them. Right now, though, you can go online and you can read issue 1 to 1, basically the first 145 episodes or issues. You can go online and read right now, which is pretty cool. I mean, they cover like such classics: Mega Man, Super Mario 3, Metroid, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country. All those are in that 1 to 145 episode list.
I want to read those old Howard Phillips and Nestor comics.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. To go back and see those. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna I know there are collectors out there that probably have like all 141 through 145 like in mint condition, and I wonder if that kills the value of their collection. But whatever. If I want to read it, I want to read it, right? Let's see. Okay, so Pokemon Go. So I was over, Brian, I refused to jump on the Pokemon Go train, and it's gotten harder and harder. And in Europe, it was even harder for me not to, because there were I was talking to someone who was on one of the tours with me, and it was a younger girl, and she was like, yeah, there's so many Pokemon over here that are different that none of my friends are getting back home. And they're so jealous because I got this and I got that. And I was like, oh God, I'm dying. It's killing me not to do it. But I stayed strong and I didn't do it. But I guess a Japanese Olympian in Rio, because, the Olympics are coming up, I guess pretty soon here.
Yeah.
He racked up a phone bill of over $5,000 in roaming charges.
Wow.
Because he was playing Pokemon Go in Rio. That's hilarious to me. 500,000 yen, just in case you're in Japan and you want to know what that translation is. $5,000 phone bill for some Pokemon, and that's not even counting whatever in-game purchases he made.
I hope he wins. Maybe.
Buddy. Yeah, you need that gold medal to pay for the goddamn phone bill. And yeah, that's about it for my. I was gonna ask you though, Brian. So on your Pokemon, what did you think about the update? Because I know recently they did an update, and people were all up in arms about the Pokemon update.
I'm really torn about it because I liked the idea of how it was, but I didn't actually do that. So if anyone doesn't know, the update changed how you hunt down Pokemon to catch, and I guess that's how it's supposed to be played, but it's much more fun just to go to a park and sit around with a bunch of people and like, stroll about where the Pokemon are and chat with people. And God, I was in this little like town main street. I think it was called Winter Garden, Winter Haven. I can't remember, but Orlando-ish, and it's just like the historic district with a couple of bookstores and bars and things like that. And we were just walking back and forth, hitting the Pokestops and collecting this. And this kid, Pikachu, Pikachu, Pikachu! Oh my God, there's a Pikachu! And like people came running to get the Pikachu, and like, I don't know. That's a little bit more fun than just like roaming golf courses, like watching the map falling off cliffs. Like,
yeah,
it didn't change how I play at all. So I don't mind the patch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny that you brought that up about like people falling off cliffs and stuff like that. Is a little bit off, like on topic, but a little bit different. So in England, it's like no one has guns. They've outlawed guns almost completely. Even like the cops don't have guns. Like you have to be on a special unit to have guns in the UK. And so these three kids were in this park that was actually really close to my hotel, and that's why we heard about it. And they were playing Pokemon Go, which was funny because like everywhere I went in Europe, people were playing Pokemon Go. It was hilarious. Like didn't matter what language they were speaking, but you could see on their phone they're like running around trying to find Pokemon. But I guess these three kids were there and they were playing Pokemon Go in this park, sort of like you were saying. They were just sort of hanging out, waiting for things to appear. And some kids, three other kids, came up to them and stole their phones with a gun. Like they had a silver whatever gun. And then they robbed some other guy who he wasn't playing Pokemon Go, but they I guess they'd robbed a guy before that, like of his wallet, and then I guess they saw these three kids playing Pokemon Go. They went up and they stuck a gun in their face and was like, "Hey, give us your phones," basically. So these poor kids playing Pokemon Go and they get fucking stuck up and got their phones taken away. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like people have fallen off cliffs, getting into car accidents. I mean, it's hard to tell on Facebook like what's real, what's not real. But I mean, I think there are some legitimate stories out there about people like really getting fucked up or getting hurt playing Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's madness. So that sort of rounds out the news, and so let's sort of transition into our topic, which is GenCon 2016. We're here. Like I said, I'm with Yellow Games. Yellow is debuting a really cool game by Antoine Bauza, the guy who did Seven Wonders, a whole bunch of other really cool games, called Oceanos. And it's a really cool game. I really love it. It's like it's a drafting game, and you're building a tableau of the undersea that you're exploring, basically. So you have this submarine that's like in all these, it's almost like a little jigsaw puzzle, but it's only like 5 or 6 pieces. And then you have these extra pieces of the submarine, and you can upgrade your submarine for different things. Like if you upgrade your tail rudder, it just gives you straight victory points. If you upgrade your middle section, it allows you to hold more animals in your submarine like tank or whatever. You're like, you can acquire these animals through the card drafting. It has a little portal on top where it allows you to get more cards when you're drafting. You only get 1 card per draft round, but it allows you to pull more cards to choose from. It has all these really cool different options. It's like card drafting, set collection, a whole bunch of different mechanics sort of all wrapped into one, which is very Antoine Bauza-ish, I guess.
Sounds a little Istanbulish.
No, I mean, I would say it's very, very similar to Seven Wonders, because there's like a whole bunch of things going on in Seven Wonders where like you can get victory points by building your wonder, you can get victory points by collecting the yellow cards, the purple cards, by collecting the green cards. There's a whole bunch of different ways to score, and so it's just sort of like what strategy are you going to take based on what cards you get as you draft. Which I really like because it just gives you a ton of replayability. So sort of yellow games bias aside, that's probably in my top 3 of games that I'm happy about at Gen Con. Do you like Pandemic, Brian? Are you a
Mm,
Pandemic fan?
not really.
Yeah, I'm not so much of a fan either. Well, I just don't like I don't like co-op games. But the Pandemic is releasing a Cthulhu version.
I'd be more likely to
So
play that.
yeah, me too. I don't even own Pandemic, and I own like 1,500 board games. But I this is probably the one that I'll buy. I've played it. There are some differences, you know. There's few little things that they sort of threw in to make it Cthulhu-ish, but really it's just a skin. You know, it's a
Yeah.
Cthulhu skin. It's Pandemic with a Cthulhu skin with a couple of little, you know, Cthulhu things sort of thrown in there. There's an expansion for Ticket to Ride that came out called Rails and Sails, which I'm sort of excited about. I love Ticket to Ride, so that's cool.
Sails like ships.
Yeah, like you're not only are you building the routes, like train routes, but you're building like ferry routes as well. I think like steamship routes as well. So it sort of morphs them in, and they've sort of done that in a couple of the past expansions where you have like these like water routes or whatever. So I think this is just making it more of more on the forefront with the water based things. Let's see. There's a game called Tides of Time that came out earlier last year. They also basically reskinned it, and now it's called Tides of Madness, Cthulhu theme. But Tides of Time is actually a really good game. I haven't played that one yet, but I want to see. I mean, if there's any, I have Tides of Time. If there's any difference, then maybe I'll pick it up. But if it's just the only difference is it's the same game with Cthulhu, then I'll probably pass on that. Have you done any? Have you seen any of the minis or anything that are coming out that you've been interested in, Brian? Because
Oh
that's
yeah.
the one thing I haven't like been keeping up on.
Every year, Privateer Press just does an amazing Gen Con exclusive. It's actually really killer looking. It's one of the, I think one of the what do they call them? Journeyman Warcasters gets promoted, and it's going to be available in like 4 months or whatever. But they have the early exclusive model at Gen Con. I'm totally. They're also very good about you can order it from their site during Gen Con, so I don't have to bribe anyone who I know that is there.
Sweet. Yeah, I what was that one I picked up for you last year? What was
the sci-fi pinup from Kingdom Death.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I actually got one for myself. I still have it. That was pretty cool. Did you ever?
I'm surprised you didn't flip that one.
No, I held on to it. I liked it. I don't have I don't have a lot of that Kingdom Death stuff, but I just liked the look of it, so I kept it.
That sci-fi one was pretty killer, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Five Tribes is actually a game I really like. It has an expansion coming out called The Thieves of Nakala. So I'm looking forward to that. It's already been released in Europe, but the US debut is coming out for Gen Con. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. It's a lot of like kind of BS games. I don't want to say BS. I don't want to offend anyone, but like Kung Fu Panda, the board game. There's like a whole bunch of games that are coming out that are like whatever games that I probably would never buy, but
I know they're working on it. Will what's it called? Hero Realms be at Gen Con?
Hero Realms, is that the Star Realms different one?
Yeah, the Star Wars Fantasy.
Yeah, no, I don't have. I don't know if they will have. Actually, let me look that up. Let's see, Hero.
That's probably. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot lately. That's probably the one I'm excited about most lately. I love the Star Realms, man.
Great game. Let's see. White Wizard games. That's White Wizard. Let's see. I would think that it looks like they are fulfilling their. Sorry, like the on Google, it's a Hero Realm stupid the video game. Let's see. I would assume they did a Kickstarter. I would assume that they are fulfilling at GenCon, which would be probably GenCon pickup. Yeah, I would assume that they would have some. You know what's funny? At Origins they had a they had a bunch of like promo cards for it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I picked up a couple of those. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, but I mean, here's the thing. I hope that it's not it's just Star Realms, but just with a
skin.
Yeah, with a fantasy skin. That would be pretty shitty.
They've been pretty good about introducing something new along the way, I think.
Yeah. Here's the other problem too, is that like what I liked about Star Realms was that you bought the base set, right? And that's all you really needed.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with some like additional sets, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't like you have to buy a freaking new one every week or every month or whatever. They came out with a couple new ones, but they all came out together and they were all like standalone. It wasn't like blind.
They were like $5, weren't they?
Yeah, they were less than that. I think they were like you get all 4 for like $12 or something like that. And they weren't like blind packs. It was just like each one had you knew what you were getting in each pack. You know what I mean? This, I think they're doing a little different. They're doing like all these different character packs. Like you have a base game, and you have a base game, and then there's character packs, and each character pack has its own unique starting deck, starting health.
They're doing this more
abilities.
like Epic.
Yeah, like you can play as a cleric, a fighter, a ranger, a thief, or a wizard. So you have to buy the character pack if you want to play as one of those players. Which, I don't know.
Is there just a like starter and you're good to go? Because that was great, dude. I can't tell you how many times I was sitting around Adventure Game Store and people were like, $15 and I'm done, sold.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it says like their pledge. I'm just going off their Kickstarter page. Their pledge level, like aside from the $1 pledge, their base pledge is just the base game. That's it, with no character packs or anything like that. They have one with then the next level up basically is the base game, all 5 character packs. And then it goes up to base game, 5 character packs. But then there's boss decks, a campaign starter deck.
Jeez.
Like there's all, I mean. You know what, I remember this Kickstarter now, and that's why I didn't pledge.
Too much collected.
Yeah, because you know me, like, I mean, once it gets into where, like, I have to buy this, and then I have to buy that, and another thing, and another, like.
3 copies of each.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into that. So, yeah, that's that. I'm actually going to the Japanime party Friday night.
Oh, cool. God, they called it something clever.
I don't remember what they called it. They just sent me. They just called it the Japanime party in the email they sent me. I mean, I'm only going. It's not like I'm like any kind of like crazy insider or whatever. But I pledged for Heart of Crown, their deck builder. Like they have Tanto Core and whatever. So I pledged for Heart of Crown, and included with that was a ticket to their party if you went to GenCon or whatever. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. They're gonna have like an actual like a Heart of Crown tournament at the party. So I'm gonna jump in. I'll probably jump into that. Hopefully, see how I do. Definitely looking forward to. I'm gonna be doing some DC deck builder tournaments as well. So that'll be excited. That'll be exciting at Origins. I won both tournaments that I was in. So I was pretty excited about that. Didn't really get anything for it, except for like promos that I already have. But I mean, whatever. Bragging rights, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Any games you're sort of excited about, Brian?
No, not really. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but I haven't really been all that excited about tabletop lately. I've just been too into the video games. You know, I kind of go back and forth.
What are you on right now? What video game are you playing?
Black Desert still, man.
No, Black Desert, really? Man, we
Yep.
talked about that a while ago. You've been on that for a while.
I took a couple of weeks off to play some PlayStation 4. I played Pixel Junk Shooter and that Odin Sphere, long German name that I can't pronounce, re-release. But yeah, you know, there's a content patch for Black Desert. I go right back.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, man, I gotta get back on my gaming. It's just like fucking time, man. You know, it's like
You can't do both. It's impossible.
Yeah. We do so much. I do so much board gaming already, and then you know, just with life, it's tough to get on the console. Oh, that was what I want to talk about too. The Target had Target is really stepping up their board game, like board game, I guess.
Yeah.
alliteration aside. Did you see all the releases they had over the last couple of weeks of like real games, not like Candyland or whatever. Like they've been like putting out real hardcore gamer tabletop games lately. They came out with the adult version of Codenames.
Oh, Undercover?
Something like that. Yeah. I forget the actual name of it, but they came out with that. They came out with a board game version of Oregon Trail. Remember that old like floppy disk PC game? Bro, you died of dysentery or whatever. So they came out with that, which is cool. They are coming out with actually Yellow Games put out a new updated version of King of Tokyo, and that is actually they have a Target exclusive. And so they're putting that out. That's actually going to be out that'll actually be out in the next week or so. And it's funny, man. They really know what they're doing. They you know how I love the exclusives, So like every game that they put out is like a Target exclusive. Like you can't get it anywhere else. Like no one else is allowed to sell those games, which is super smart. Whoever is like handling their board gaming at Target, you're doing a great job. They not only are the games exclusive to Target and you're not allowed to buy them anywhere else, but they make the games a little bit different. So like the King of Tokyo, Yellow can sell King of Tokyo, their new updated King of Tokyo, but the Target version has like an extra character that you cannot get in the version that other people are allowed to sell. So even though they sort of made that, like I said, even though it's not an exclusive, they made it different enough to buy that game. So super smart on their part. And I'm pretty sure like that adult code names or whatever, I don't think you can buy anywhere else but there, which is pretty cool. And so, I mean, I don't see any other of these big box chains doing that. And I think that's really it's pretty short-sighted on their part, but good for Target. But Codenames is, I mean, they're coming out with Codenames pictures here at GenCon, which is probably going to be the hottest item. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the hottest item, I think. Everyone's going to just be clamoring for that game.
Is that not just Dixit?
I don't know what the difference is between that and Dixit, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's different enough that But yeah, they got a bunch of Star Trek games coming out too. There's Star Trek Ascendancy, which looks pretty cool, and they had that Star Trek Panic, which I actually played. It's like Castle Panic, but it's with Enterprise. Basically, is like instead of it being a castle, it's the Enterprise, and all these different outsiders or whatever outer space dangers are coming at it. But the cool thing is they sort of made it different in that you're not only are you like sort of defending against the invaders or whatever is attacking, you have to complete missions at the same time. So the Enterprise is still like doing missions while defending against all these different threats that are coming at it from like all different sides. Again, I hate co-op, so not really my cup of tea. But I mean, it was. I didn't have a bad time playing the game. And that's sort of it on my end. I mean, I know there's a ton of games coming out. I mean, you know, it just depends on what kind of gamer you are. But there are a ton of other games coming out. Like there's a Goonies game coming out. There's a Hogwarts Harry Potter game coming out. Legendary Civil War. I think Marvel Legendary's coming out with a couple new titles. I mean, I'm wearing my stupid lanyard right here is Legendary. I think it's their Big Trouble in Little China version.
I can't remember what the IP is, but isn't someone doing a collectible card and dice game a lot like Marvel Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. What that would be. I know there's a new Smash Up coming out. I mean, there's a ton of shit coming out. That's Ares games, which is like War of the Ring, my favorite game. They're coming out with a new War of the Ring expansion, and they have a Friday the 13th like Jason game called the Last Friday. So they've acquired the rights to that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean that's. Like I said, there's so many. That's the thing about GenCon. It's such a behemoth, and everyone basically releases at GenCon. So it's almost like too much to keep up with. If you're a Euro gamer, there's going to be new Euro, an awesome new Euro game. If you're a party gamer, there's going to be an awesome new party game. If you're any kind of gamer, there's something there for you, which just makes it such a great con, but also makes it such a just ridiculously large loading sort of thing,
Can't do it all. It's a terrible place to be.
Yeah, well, I can't complain too much, So that's all I've really got. Do you have anything, Brian?
No, like I said, I've been video gaming it lately, so I'm excited about No Man's Sky coming out soon, which I don't think will be there.
No Man's Sky. What is it? What's that about?
That's the, you have a spaceship and a gun and you have to explore planets on the way to the galactic center.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Actually, you just reminded me. Have you played the game? It's like it's like a tablet PC game.
No.
It's how can I explain it? It's a puzzle game, but set in sort of a first-person open world, sort of like it's almost like Fallout, but with it's like a mix of like Fallout and God of War, sort of, if that makes sense to you. So you're not really like in God of War, you're doing a lot of fighting as well as solving puzzles, but you don't do all so much of the fighting. You're basically. But you're doing a lot of exploring, and then as you're exploring, you're also solving a bunch of puzzles. Like basically everywhere you go, you have to solve a puzzle. I don't think I'm giving anything away, but like the very beginning of the game, you're sort of in a train car, and there's like a suitcase, and sort of you sort of explore the train car, and then you figure out that there's like a false compartment to the suitcase. You find like this puzzle box, and then you got to figure out how to open the puzzle box, because there's like you find a key and you find the puzzle box, but there's no keyhole. But the key goes into the puzzle box. You got to figure out how to reveal the keyhole or whatever. So I highly recommend that to anyone, even if it's just one of those things you can play while you're like sitting on a bus or whatever. You just play on your phone. But it's called The Game. And I guess there's like several iterations of it. The one that I got is the third iteration, which I guess sort of incorporates the first two. But yeah, I would highly recommend that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to be here at GenCon. I've already got my 2016
Nice.
special dice set. I've already got my Orleans deluxe version, which they will not be making any more of. This has like the metal coins and like all the upgraded components or whatever. And I also picked up a stupid little game, but it's fun. It's a fun game, actually. I shouldn't say it's stupid, but picked up Quelf for my companion because it's something I know she'll love. Do you ever play Quelf with us, Brian?
No.
At AGS, or it's a party game. It's a silly game, but it's actually even like a hardcore gamer can have fun playing it. It's pretty good. You gotta you basically you roll a die and you end up on a certain color, and then there's a bunch of different stacks of cards per color, and so you pick it up and you got to do whatever it says. So like one will be like you have to you got to run around wherever you're at, and you've got to put 7 different items in your shirt without them falling out, or you got to hold a pen and you have to talk like Winston Churchill for the whole round or something, and use it as a baton, things like that. It's like a silly game, but it's really fun. And I guess we'll end our GenCon discussion on that note. So I guess I'm good if you're good, Brian. You ready to wrap it up?
Until next week.
All right. So with that, listeners, viewers, thanks for joining us and listening to us recount our, like I said, our narcissistic last couple weeks, and our listening to our GenCon recap. And it was a little haphazard because I just got here, but I'll have more information. I'm sure I'll update everyone next week on next week's show about what I did at GenCon and all the different things, and we'll have a different topic, I'm sure. But that's it. Brian, take us away.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, add us to your Google Circle, and join the Nerdstravaganza HQ on Facebook.
What's Tom's? I can't remember. They add us.
Add us to your Google.
Yeah, like us on. You did like us on Facebook, right? Add us. Give us maximum stars
and rates. Yeah.
Yeah, give us maximum stars on iTunes. Subscribe on iTunes. Check us out on Stitcher, Google Play, and let's see. Check us out on YouTube. Check out all of our videos. Check out our website, nerdstravaganza.com, and send us an email at nerdstravaganza@gmail.com. And yeah, that's it.
Peace.
All right, take care.